Well, my name is Jenna. This semester, I have decided to do my first of 3 days as a non-digital artifact, which was what I thought was probably like one of the more interesting. Well, they're all interesting, each form of media that we were able to do. But essentially exploring my artifact, I have been working on essentially making a secondary form of identification for people that might have high medical needs and could be in a situation where they are, for some reason, either unresponsive or, can't be just identified. So think of how people like have a bracelet, maybe if they've got like diabetes or like epilepsy or something like that, if you see it, like, okay, this is what's going on right now. I thought maybe if that wasn't possible and not everyone carries bracelets like that, then you can have a little pocketbook that you keep in your bag or in your wallet, like a very, very small little book that has everything from your, name, age, date of birth, your emergency contacts. It would have your, oh, so many things it has. What else does it have? It would have like your medical allergies, where you work, just stuff like that, sort of like where you normally are, what you're allergic to, what your regular medications are, like
Blood
who to
type and
call if
stuff like that.
something's. Pardon?
Like blood type and stuff, like
Yeah, stuff like that, exactly like that. And even at the back, I actually asked one of my clients, who is a paramedic, what would you recommend? And she was like, put in like government written instructions on, infant CPR, adult CPR,
um,
what to do to apply
like
an EpiPen. So I thought that was a great idea as well.
hmm. Because I guess what's it? It makes it accessible for people beyond the people who need it. Because not everyone knows how to do CPR and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
But that's my first DA. I was planning on just making like a website and almost having it like as a website that is marketing it as a sort of like a Kickstarter product to try and like get it out there to people if you want it, because you don't have to be high medical needs to have it. It can help
Hmm.
anyone really.
So how do you think of this idea?
I was driving home after our very first class, and it's a very long drive at the moment.
Hmm.
And I remembered an incident I had at work a couple months ago back in summer where unfortunately a woman that was paraplegic and she was diabetic, her blood sugar was really, really, really low.
Hmm.
And she was trying to get home to basically care for herself. And she went into, I think it's called hypoglycemic shock.
Yeah, I think it's called that. Yeah.
Like, yeah, like right in front of work. And it was like a 35-degree day. And we had to get her inside, call an ambulance, but we didn't know because she didn't have, like, she was unresponsive. She didn't have like a bracelet or a necklace or anything in her handbag that could tell us what was going on.
Hmm.
And even when like the first responders on scene were police, they went through her bag, couldn't find anything. Um, because we didn't know what was happening and neither did they. I feel like the just general response from everyone could have been better if we did have just that tiny little bit more information besides like
Hmm.
just her ID.
Yeah, because I feel like even like that little bit of extra information could save a life. So there's definitely
Yeah,
for those
exactly.
kind of things.
It's like every second counts.
Hmm.
How about your DA for this first part of the semester? What are you thinking?
For my first DA, like the whole viral content, it's like I guess topic alongside the AI generation topic like were really interesting to me. And so for a
Mm-hmm.
while I've been like torn between the two. But I think for my first one, I'll focus on the viral content part of it. Um, with there's like a trend online where you have these like Peter Griffin AI videos where Peter Griffin is just kind of explaining a niche topic to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's a Peter Griffin for everything, and it's actually so interesting. Like, just as a phenomenon of people creating Peter Griffin explaining videos. And so for my DA, I wanted to do something that was like kind of funny, and I guess something that does interest me. And so, I've been in the process of starting to make and research for these Peter Griffin AI videos, like along the subsect like niche of like explaining different Mario Kart things. Um, and yeah,
That's fantastic.
like the
I
whole
love that.
look like Minecraft videos, not Minecraft, Mario Kart videos are like the one of the few like niches that I'll struggle to find. Like you'll have like a different like a Peter Griffin for like major bands and stuff. Like literally, there's a Peter Griffin for everything. But
Mm-hmm.
somehow not Mario Kart 8.
I mean, it is a very niche topic, a great topic, but definitely niche.
Hmm.
So, with that, what specific like topics on Mario Kart do you think you will cover? Like, do you think it's going to be more like character based, or are you going to talk about like the different speedways that you can do, or even the different game modes, like the
Yeah,
balloon
like
pop game mode?
I feel like there's so much I could be doing. Like I could make a video on like the Mario Kart metas and like the best characters for different courses and stuff like that. Then like have another video explaining like different like techniques and stuff you could be using in Mario Kart and stuff like that. Like truly, I think the options are endless, and I do want to try to do as much as I can because it's just fun and it's an excuse to play Mario Kart for the background video.
It's really attention grabbing as well, because I feel like the first thing you see is Peter Griffin before you hear the topic, so you're already like drawn in to
Hmm.
whatever it is. Because if you're a fan of Family Guy, your attention is immediately on it and listening.
And like the way like the style of these videos is like what's it? Peter Griffin explaining this concept to not only the audience but also another Family Guy character. Um, and so I think it creates this like almost funny way of explaining these like random topics.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it becomes quite engaging.
Oh, absolutely.
Hmm. I think you can find like similar-ish content with like there's a guy online who I think his name's Shortcat or something. And he looked at his whole, I guess, platform is based around trying to get teach people how to do Mario Kart speedruns and like how to I guess break world records and stuff on his because he has broken a couple of world records and that's his whole platform. So but I think there's like little videos out there for like casual players who just want to like be better than everyone else in like their circles, not
Mm-hmm.
well.
You can essentially be the ultimate guide to like how to get good at Mario Kart.
Hmm.
Are there any other DAs that you've looked at this semester? Like any potential ones you're doing with like other medias, or like ones that you've seen other people do?
Like in terms of like other DAs that I would be doing, I think they really just like are continuations of my current DA. Um, like future DA could just be primarily focusing on what I could be expanding on with my current one, like explaining how the whole AI Peter Griffin voice is going to be done, and that'll probably be my next
Mm-hmm.
like DA conversation topic. Um, or even like doing like a IRL making T-shirts of Mario Kart Peter Griffin. That could be funny.
Oh, absolutely. That would be excellent. I have done so last I have a lot of BCM classes. Most of my classes are BCM related.
Hmm.
Last semester I did a TikTok account and blog called, or it started as a TikTok account and then became a blog called House of Doman, which is just my last name.
Hmm.
And the whole point of it was to essentially show it was using viral media to try and it was more viral, and then I feel like when it became a blog it sort of transformed into template media because it was effectively me putting together like TikTok carousels and then later just general sort of, I guess, digital media that put together like current fashion trends and like styling
Oh,
trends and
okay.
stuff. Like think A Pop of Red, which has
Hmm.
been very popular in the last 2 years. It's made a massive comeback since the early 2000s. Or, you know, how to style a very bold dress. You do everything else minimally.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so it started as viral media, and then I've never really used TikTok before, and now I'm more familiar with it, but at the time I was like, oh, I'm a little bit out of my depths here, so I'll transfer that over to something I'm familiar with, where it's like I can just post a visual and then, you know, add, say, maybe 150 words, just sort of summarizing what you're looking at.
Hmm.
So that was an interesting one last semester that I managed to do.
Hmm. How do you reckon that, like, the skills that you got from that transfer over to your current DA?
I think it definitely helped with navigating visual aesthetics, which obviously what I did last semester and then this semester in terms of these two DAs is completely different.
Hmm.
But what I'm doing now with the non digital artifact, it does heavily border on template media. The only thing that really separates it from that is that ideally I would like it to be like a physical material, the end result.
Yeah.
But the thing
And
is if you're gonna provide like an emergency response identif identification book to give you all this information, you need to make it very quick, clear, eye catching,
very
precise. You
concise.
don't want like
Yeah.
this giant thing of info to read through. So it's got to be very succinct. And I feel like that definitely helped me a lot with how I'm, I guess, designing that now.
Yeah. And I think in some way you could argue that, I guess understanding and being able to identify trends in fashion and stuff transfers over to being able to understand what people need on a more general basis for like medicine and stuff. Like you can identify, yeah, here's what's happening and here's what we need to do in response to that kind of thing.
Yeah, it definitely helps with identifying demographics. I mean, even something as simple as think of how people are now paying to have Korean color analysis, where you know you've got the little sheets in front of you and they
Blonde or
compare each color to your hair and skin tone. Weirdly enough, that's really not all that much different than, say, hypothetically looking at someone's height, weight, body mass, and then going, okay, so they're this tall, they're, you know, they might weigh this much, they could be this age. Let's give them this measurement of
Mm.
medicine. Let's give them however many mils to match that.
Yeah.
Totally different realms, but somewhat correlated.
Hmm. There's a link there definitely in like just I guess a conceptual way of what you're doing.
Definitely, like, yeah, theory rather than
Yeah.
practice. Because imagine if a first responder was like, she needs red lipstick right now. It's just
Yeah, cherry red for that girl.
exactly. I've got one more DA that I'm actually doing currently. It's been begun. My first assessment has already gone through for another BCM class that I'm taking this semester called it's essentially like game media industries. And what I'm doing for that is we had to pick a game or a franchise or a console or just something game media related. You could even do like the pokies if you wanted to. It's just any form of gaming media is accepted.
Hmm.
I chose a horror game franchise that I have been obsessed with for a good few years now.
What
And
franchise?
The game, or I guess the development group, it's a pair of brothers called Chillers Art. They are Japanese and they create retro short horror games. So you usually get anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours of gameplay with their games. They've got over 30.
Hmm.
They're all the same concept, but different stories, different visuals, but they all use low lighting, liminal spaces, and largely like suspense to bring the game together.
Hmm.
And I plan on using viral media to make that happen by other than explaining and sort of analyzing what this game is doing to make with liminal space, because liminal space is a very viral subject at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
If you've seen like the back rooms and stuff like that on TikTok, like those games and videos.
Yeah, like they're everywhere at the moment. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely everywhere. But what we actually see for liminal space on social media doesn't really necessarily fit in with the definition all the time. A lot of people have lost track of what it actually is. And liminal space is supposed to be transitional zones that you just pass through. You're not staying in them. So think of empty hospitals, hallways, or even like empty car park or mostly empty car parks, just anywhere where you're passing through, you're not staying there.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to do with viral media is create a TikTok account where I take videos of what is identified as liminal spaces around UOW campus and around the Illawarra,
Oh, yeah,
um,
yeah.
where I, take those videos, compare it, and sorry, bear with me for 2 seconds. It's such a big topic. Um, I would compare it directly to the liminal spacing in the games. I'm essentially trying to replicate the feeling of discomfort that we get from Chillers Are being a horror genre and all those games being horror games, and show you how that would actually look or feel in real life.
Mm. Not in the Illawarra, but the ACU medicine area in like that
Mm-hmm.
building. It is so creepy in there because it's so, it is like peak liminal space in that hallway.
I can imagine. I mean, even where we have that class, which we've got this class in the creative arts school.
Mm.
Um,
Like
if you
imagine,
took all the people out of that and lowered the lighting, oh my goodness, I would be
yeah,
terrified.
like this ACU hallway it's got automatic lights, but the lights only turn on when you're halfway down the hall.
Oh no,
Oh, it's scary.
it sounds terrifying. But
Yeah, me
that
too.
is the other DA that I am doing at
Mm.
the moment. It's definitely a work in progress, but I feel like I've got a pretty solid idea of where it's going.
Ah, yeah. Hmm.
Do you have any thoughts on challenges that you faced with this DA or, that other DA so far? Like, have you faced any issues? Do you feel like there's anything you could be doing better or you wish that you'd thought of before you first started?
I think my biggest, like, as challenge going forward at the moment is like trying to identify what to actually talk about. Because I think it's one thing to say, yeah, I can talk about this, this, and this, but say like someone's trying to get into Mario Kart or whatever, and um, wants like the bare minimum basics, and they, stumble across my little account that's meant to be Ultimate Guide to Mario Kart, and it's jumping into like the meta characters, meta builds.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to identify where to start with and then like go from there is probably going to be like the hardest part. I'll like maybe even like research I don't even think is going to be like that bad of an issue either. But uh purely because like I think a lot of it is you learn from experience with Mario Kart. But
Yeah.
what's it? I guess just knowing where to start with has been the biggest trouble because I don't want to go too basic or too niche into it, you know? What would you say your biggest um challenge has been so far?
I think specifically with the DA that I had last semester, is that I pretty much bit off more than I could chew,
Hmm.
in the sense that it took me a while to figure out how I wanted to convey my DA and how I was going to make it work with viral media. And that's what led to me switching to largely template media that I guess other people could, sort of take this image, take this explanation and go, okay,
Hmm.
here's how I can use this, or here's what I can do with this to implement it into my own wardrobe.
Hmm.
But I think the biggest issue is that I chose a platform that I wasn't familiar with and ended up really struggling to actually get a start on my DA because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to do it. Every video that I watched as a tutorial explained something else. And while I've got the hang of it now, at the time, I just feel like I really did not have enough time across the semester to actually get to the point I am now, 6 months later.
Hmm. Yeah, I get you. What would you be saying to people who like start their DA tomorrow, you know? What would be like your biggest advice to them?
I would honestly say whatever ideas you come up with, weirdly enough, take the most all over the place idea that has, a million different concepts branching off of it and run with that as long as it fits within your assessment criteria.
Hmm.
Because if you have this great idea that has so many different moving parts to it, it's a DA. You don't have to finish it by the end of the semester. You can just keep going with it throughout, the rest of uni or throughout life if you're really passionate about it.
Hmm.
But it gives you multiple different ways to start. It's not like a hard, okay, I have to do this before I can move on to this. It's, you can do this and then you can do this and then do this. And there's no order to it. You just do, okay, I'm ready to do this. So I'm going to
Yeah.
do this.
I
And
think
it gives you an undefined start that you can just
yeah.
really hone in on.
Yeah. I'd probably say something similar, you know, pick like the most like incomprehensible idea you've got and just kind of run with it. So I think it's those ideas that you end up having the most fun with. Like exploring like what your DA is gonna turn up out of this like convoluted mess of ideas. Like I think that's part of the fun of the DA, just like trying to figure out where you're gonna go with it.
Oh, definitely. I
Hmm.
think too that if you have an idea that has so many different subcategories coming from it,
Hmm.
you to some degree you have thought it out well. You just haven't figured out necessarily how to put it into a short, concise sentence.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of it. If you come up with an idea that you're not having a roadblock on, if anything, you need a couple of roadblocks,
Yeah.
run with it because that's the one that you're probably going to have the least trouble with starting or with continuing because it is ever
Yeah.
evolving.
And I suppose if you
Did you
have,
face,
hmm?
sorry, continue?
Like I feel like if you have so many options with your DA, like you probably won't run into so many like conceptual issues, more so practical issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel as though so long as you've got like the conceptual part of it down, you should be fine. But yeah, what were
Well,
you?
that's exactly it.
Hmm.
Even if you have practical issues, you'll have parts of it where you're not facing practical issues. So do the ones where you're not facing the issue. You'll even then, I guess, it's not even choosing to do the ones where you're not having the issues, but you'll just immediately lean towards it, which already means you're moving in the right direction, which in this case is any direction.
Yeah. Any progress is good progress, like.
That is exactly it.
But yeah, what were you gonna ask?
Did you have any other challenges that you can think of?
Not particularly. I think what the conceptual stage was probably the hardest, like just trying to narrow in on one idea, but once I got over that, it's been fine. Have you come into like any other major issues with yours or?
Honestly, it's really just what you just said, the conceptual stage and figuring out what to start with. And then when you do pick an idea, picking one that is easy to get